Hello, welcome to public finance class. We are the eighth module and we'll be looking at intergovernmental fiscal relation, intergovernmental fiscal relation. And in this module, we will look into what's the definition of what's the meaning of intergovernmental fiscal relation is. We'll look at federal versus unitary financial system, and we will also look at the revenue allocation and fiscal federalism. And by way of explanation, intergovernmental fiscal relations are the financial interaction and arrangement that are between different levels of government. It's the fiscal relations. Um, it's their financial interactions and arrangements which exist between different levels of government, and they determine how fiscal responsibilities, revenue sources, and expenditure functions are allocated across different tiers of government. And this system is crucial for promoting efficiency, equity, accountability, and national unity, which are very important as per the principles of public finance. There are classifications of intergovernmental fiscal relation, and they are classified into four main dimensions. And the first is a vertical relation. We have the horizontal relations, we have the cooperative versus competitive relation, and we have the symmetric versus asymmetric relation. Talking about the vertical relation, the financial flow, it's actually the financial flow between central and subnational governments, addressing imbalances where local responsibilities exceed the local revenue through transfer and grants. And as for the horizontal relations, they are financial dealings among governments at the same level, and this aims to reduce regional disparity and ensure equitable public services across a country. Also, for the cooperative versus competitive relation, this functional distinctive contrast policy coordination for national goal with the inter-jurisdictional competition for investment and residents. And for symmetric versus asymmetric relationship, this kind of classification of intergovernmental fiscal relation distinguishes between system where all the subnational units have equal fiscal power and those where some regions have special autonomy. And this framework shows how fiscal structure are shaped by a country's specific political and economic context. Looking at the federal versus unitary system, in a brief one before we embroaden it, the federal system is a system found in countries like the United States, Nigeria, Canada, and South Africa, which emphasizes a constitutional share of power and responsibilities. And subnational governments have a degree of fiscal autonomy in this kind of federal system, under federal system. And for unitary system, this tends to concentrate fiscal authority at the national level, as seen in the United Kingdom. And under this, they often use delegation to empower local authority. And looking at it comparatively, the federal financial system, the federal system, looks into the source of authority for federal system is it's constitutionally divided between central and subnational units, while the revenue power is being shared between the levels of government. As per the expenditure responsibility, they actually distributed between federal and subnational units. For the fiscal autonomy, there is high for subnational units, though it actually varies. And also for uniformity and diversity, federal financial system allows for regional diversity in fiscal policy. An example of this, just like I said, is USA, Nigeria, Canada, India, and such. Um, for unitary financial system, and from that you see that it's actually a central one. So the source of authority is concentrated in central government, um, and the subnational units are delegated compared with the federal, which is between the central and the subnational. And also, as per the revenue power, it's largely monopolized by central government. And for expenditure responsibilities, it is determined and supervised by central government. And you see that it's just about central government because it is unitary, one system of financial, of government as such. And also for fiscal autonomy, under unitary system, it's limited with reliance on central transfer. And for uniformity versus diversity, it promotes uniformity across the country under unitary system. An example of those that are into this system are the United Kingdom, France, China, and some others. Moving to the aspect of revenue allocation and fiscal federalism, what do we understand by these terms? You see, federal revenue allocation and fiscal federalism are central issues in public finance, particularly in countries with multiple tiers of government. And in terms of revenue allocation, it's actually the process of distributing public fund among different levels of government to ensure each has adequate resources to function. Just like under Nigeria now, we have the federal, we have the state, and we have the local government, and the revenue is being allocated as per these three tiers of government, and as such, the allocation is being given to the state and the local government, while the federal also have their own share of whatsoever comes in. So as such, it is being shared. It's a form of distribution of public funds among different levels of government to ensure each has adequate resources to function. And as for the fiscal federalism, it's the study and practice of dividing financial responsibilities and power, including expenditure assignments, taxation authority, and transfer mechanism between central and subnational government. And the primary goal of both is to achieve an efficient, equitable, and stable multi-level government system. We have principles of revenue allocation, and these are the derivative principle which talks about allocation of revenue based on where it is generated. We also have equality principle, which talks about the distribution of equal share to all regions to promote unity. And we also have the need principle, and this deals with more resources that are directed to areas with greater developmental needs. We also have the fiscal capacity principle, and for this, talks about compensation of resource regions with weaker revenue raising ability. And the last principle is the efficiency principle. And this talks about allocation of funds to avoid duplication and promote effective spending. There are also instruments that are being used in revenue allocation. The first is tax assignment. It was being said the other time. So tax assignment is actually the designating specific taxes, such the example include federal, state, and local to different government levels. It's designating specific taxes to these three that have been set as an example for Nigeria. Also, another instrument is revenue sharing formula, and this is using preset criteria to distribute centrally collected revenue. So the money that has been collected from different subnationals, different states being collated together, and there is a preset criteria that has been put in place to distribute the revenue. And also, We have the intergovernmental transfer as another instrument, and this is providing funds to subnational government through block grants, conditional grants, and equalization transfer. In conclusion, the legal framework for public finance is fundamental determinant of a nation's ability to ensure stable governance. So successful intergovernmental fiscal relations are crucial for providing public services equitably across all regions. And the design of this relation is a fundamental issue in public finance, shaping a country's economic and political future. Thank you.